Hello, welcome to Back to the Roots, the show that highlights powerful stories of people from the African diaspora, Afro-Descendants, reconnecting with Africa and redefining what home means. Today's guest represents a unique American diaspora journey, one rooted in service, faith, and uh, and purpose, of course, sorry. Dr. Carla Hammond is a board certified psychiatrist with over 30 years of experience. She's a proud mother and daughter of the American diaspora, a mentor, digital creator, and a woman whose life has been guided by faith, family, and impact. She's now exploring a deeper connection with Africa and hopes to one day become a citizen of the Republic of Benin. Dr. Carla, welcome to this show.
Thank you.
What did I miss in this short introduction of yours?
Wow, I tell you, there is a lot to me. Um, I just really always was someone that was very spiritual, even as a child. So I think a lot of my journey just came from knowing that something was not quite right. Uh,
Hmm.
I like to describe it that way. Just being born into a situation and just looking around and saying, something's not quite right. I'm not really where I'm supposed to be. So that was always a question as a child for me. Um,
Wow.
yes, yeah, it's real. It's totally deep. Anybody that is going through this process, you talk to them and they've had, this kind of the same experience.
Hmm. I get it. Well, Dr. Carla, you were born and raised in the United States.
Yes, yes. I was
Yes.
born in the United States, and it's in the state of Texas, actually. And Texas is a really, really popular place now. When I was born there many, many years ago, it was very different. Um, so I left there over 30 years ago. So the Texas that I go visit to now, I really don't recognize it. And I'm retiring now. So I really would like to go back to Texas and explore the new Texas.
Right. Explore the new Texas. You growing up in the United States, how did that forge your character, the person that you became over the years?
It was very difficult because now Texas is very diverse. It's very international. But when I grew up there, it was very segregated. Um, the people of color, we lived in one part of the city of Dallas, and the people that were, Caucasian, they lived in another part. The white people lived in another part, so it was very segregated. And so my first years of my life, I was in the area where there was predominantly, black people. And then as a child, at about 6 or 7, my parents wanted a big house and, the big dream. So we moved to an area where there was predominantly, white people. And it was difficult. It really was. It was difficult because they just weren't used to, people of color being plopped right in the middle of their existence. So now it's totally different. Everybody is just all mixed in. It's very international. It just really has a different flavor now.
Well, I guess growing up in such environment also gave you a great sense of community and some values. What values that you remember or you think that really you got from growing up in such environment? What value
Um,
of community?
Yes, I think my values were based on education, getting your education. I grew up in a household where my mother, she was very service oriented. She belonged to a lot of different organizations. She was involved politically. My father, he was a physician, and served the Black community for many, many years. So it was all about service. I have a lot of people in my family that are ministers, teachers. So those are the type of people that I grew up around, educators. So academics was really important, the most important thing in my household.
Well, yes, serving, but also, you are deeply involved into faith, so church activities. Was that a means for you really to be resilient and really support, go through what you were going through in those years where segregation used to be so?
Not really. We were more so people that just like went to church, were religious. It wasn't about a relationship with God. That didn't come till later for me. Like when I was like 18, 19, um, really became more connected and just really felt the presence of God.
Oh.
Actually understood what it was because, like I said, as a child, I was very spiritual, and I like there was a presence there that was protecting me, guiding me, shaping my life. But I really didn't understand that until after I left home and really started pursuing a relationship with God. And it was hard because the culture that I came from, we all went to church, but we really didn't read the Bible. It was like you go to church on Sunday, you go out and party on Saturday night, and you go to church on Sunday. So it
Oh.
was not a relationship. It was something that I had to learn to integrate into my life. And once that really became real to me, in my 30s, I went and got my degree in biblical study. um, then I pursued Christian counseling, um, and just really started living, for me, a Christ centered life in
Hmm.
the 30s. And just really, it just became who I was in every area of my life.
Yes, you mentioned getting a degree, education. What was it like waking up every morning, going to school in your community? What was it like as a child?
Well, it was not easy for me because I had some, what you would say, like learning disabilities, but that back then they didn't know what that was. So I had to really adapt and learn how to learn, um, because I ended up doing a lot of work on my own as a young girl because they understood I really wasn't that good at the classroom. So I think knowing that I would have to really be good at academics, in order to be like what I wanted to be from day one. I always wanted to be a doctor. I always said, I'm going to be a doctor, like 4 or 5 years old, walking around. I'm going to be a doctor. It's crazy.
Do you think your father had anything to do with your choice to becoming a doctor?
Well, yeah, I mean, seeing him as a doctor, going to the hospital with him at 4 years old, waiting for him in the nursing station. He had a large medical practice. I would always be there, in that environment. And I always felt like that was the environment that was for me as well. So it was very natural to me, to want to be a doctor. But it was challenging, like I said, because of my learning differences, but I did it. I had so much persistence. Um, and if you see someone doing something, you can do it too.
Right.
That's why it's so important when you're in, the place that I am, is to always try to talk to other people about it and bring them up as well.
You mentioned having some challenges. I mean, some kind of. But do you think that led to your choice, guided you in the choice of becoming a psychiatrist?
Um, yes, I think just looking around in my community and seeing that was something that we didn't have enough of. And then also, I feel as if growing up in the environment that I was in, and you look around and you're different from other people, it causes you to be depressed. So I dealt
Oh,
with depression, a lot of identity issues growing up. And it really, I needed a psychiatrist at one point. And it was
oh,
so me to get that help from the neck up that I felt like I want to do this too for other people. I want to know them to know that this is available. And I think also in my family, there were people that were depressed, anxious, addicted, all of those things. And I wanted to be able to help other families, to really address those kind of things without the stigma.
you did serve, you did help many people. But in the process, you also chose to support other medical workers with advising and training. Uh, why did you feel like doing that? Yeah, you were helping hospitals, helping people with their mental issues, with depression, but you felt also like supporting your colleagues, helping them, and why? If you don't
Well,
mind me asking.
I think that's part of my upbringing because, like I said, we had medical people in our family, we have ministers in our family, we have teachers in our family. So I feel like as a psychiatrist, I was able to incorporate all of the different things that I grew up around and I really loved. So that translated into mentoring medical students, residents, which are doctors in training, um, educating nurse practitioners who are learning in the profession how to prescribe medication and really need um, guidance on just like things that go on with people, which we call clinical issues. Um, and you learn about clinical issues from having been in different situations.
Oh,
And so that's a wealth of knowledge that you like to pass on to students, to training doctors, to physician assistants, nurse practitioners, those type of people that we come in contact with.
and what when you listen to people in your community today, what I know, obviously most of them are now grown-ups. They are working in different areas of the society. What do most of them remember you for? What are the talks about when they mention Dr. Carla?
Well, I've just done so many different things. I've actually started out as a child psychiatrist and worked with teenagers. So I think you would hear, oh, she's great with kids. She's great
Mm,
with, I worked as an addiction psychiatrist. So
mm,
you hear the people that came in contact with me, she really helped me in my recovery. In my colleagues, if you talk to people, other psychiatrists, they'll say, "Oh, she really tried to contribute to the legislative branch of the American Psychiatric Association. I did that for
mm.
like years." I was participating in that. So, and then you would probably hear from nurse practitioners, oh, she really helped me out with some tough clinical situations with my patients. I didn't know how to handle it. Um, so that's the academic aspect. So you're going to hear just a lot of different things. And then on the aspect of encouraging people in their spirituality, you're going to hear that a lot. I've encouraged people. What does that mean to you? What does spirituality mean to you? That's the kind of thing that keeps people wanting to stay alive, wanting to live, giving them hope. You can just encourage them to explore spirituality. That's something that gives them the resilience they need to get through the chapter of struggling with mental health issues and coming out on the other side and other people.
You got the call to serve, but Dr. Hammond, you also got a call to come back to Africa. At which moment did you receive that call?
Wow, I'm really almost about to cry because this was not something I ever thought about. In fact, my mother and father, they never went to Africa. Um, I think one of my first cousins probably went to Nigeria. He was a minister, so he did travel internationally, but we didn't really talk about it. Um, I did know, like a lot of African Americans, I do know a lot about one side of my family that has very strong African roots. And they were actually able to preserve the family name even to this day. So if I see some people with their last name, I know that I'm actually related to them. So I think that's something unique about me as a young person. My grandmother told me a lot of stories about her grandparents who actually came from Africa. So I think I have a connection of knowing that we were diaspora. We were people that came from enslaved people. I knew that very early. But I had no going into Africa because of the way it's portrayed on TV. They make sure that they have the kids with the big bellies, with the flies going around them. All you see is dust on the ground. And then they say, give money, give money. Where is this money going to? You know? But it's a whole other subject. But my call to go back to Africa was meeting Bonnie. Bonnie actually is someone you had on the show. It might have been last week. But anyway,
Yeah, that was last week. But Buddy was my guest last week.
she's my cousin, and she's the one that really introduced me to the idea of Africa. Actually, I have two grandsons that she actually was able to take to Africa, and they were in boarding school. And they did so extremely well that my son, I sent him the following year, and he's in his third year. So that was my introduction to Africa, was through Bonnie. And then taking my son to Africa was amazing. I was able to see it for myself and really start developing some very close relationships with the people, specifically in Benin. So Bonnie had talked about years and years of becoming a citizen of Africa before they even started offering it. So that thought of being a citizen in Africa, I already had thought about it like 2 years ago. So it was when this whole program came up in 2025, early 2025. It was just a no for Bonnie, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it too. I'm connected too to Africa. But what is amazing is this. I've always been so interested in Ancestry.com because of the stories that my grandmother told me about her grandparents that were
Right.
transported from Eritrea to the United States. Um, I always was so interested in that whole genetic thing, you know. So I went and got my Ancestry.com profile about 7 or 8 years ago, but never knew my connection genetically with Benin, Togo until like maybe like 8 months ago. I ended up being 24% Benin, Togo. And for me to have already had my grandkids go to boarding school there, my son was in boarding school there. It just was like a divine appointment for me. Really, it just makes so much.
Yeah, okay. I understand why you are picking Benin. Um, I know you have a lot of connections, your son being here in Benin. But still, I'm curious, and I'm sure our viewers also want to know, is there any other thing that attracted you apart from the findings about your background and your son being here? Is there anything else that attracted you about Benin that made you want to pick Benin over other African countries?
Well, it's amazing because in my family, on both sides of my family, my parents both studied French. And then I had an uncle that was from Haiti that spoke French as well. So I've been around French my entire life since a little girl. So it's somewhere in my brain. It's, starts to come back to me when I'm there. And it's so it makes sense to me more than some people would because there was such a connection with French in my family. All of the women in my family all have middle names that are French. Bonnie has a French middle name. So
Okay.
I always had that connection with the French language. I think that my dad's family is from Louisiana, which has a
Okay.
French.
French.
I think that's something that we're comfortable with. But Benin in particular, I think is something very special because of the door of no return. I actually have a passion for actually reversing that and entering
Yeah.
the door of
You've been here for a couple of months in 2025. How did that really convince you that yes, you really belong here? Because I guess when you came, you really got the opportunity to interact a lot with communities, with people. Did that really add to that desire to stay in Benin?
Yes, absolutely. Benin is the people are just so welcoming. My first visit to Benin was back in 2023. And it was so funny because as I even just walked through the streets, it was just as if it was just like one big hug. Um, Stepping foot uh, off the plane, I just felt like I was home. And it just made so much sense to me why it felt so much like home for me because I'm 24%, Benin Togo, and they can actually trace me to certain tribes genetically. So it's just amazing. I just feel like it's like one big hug, like everybody there, they see you as family. They want to take care of you. It's not like they want something from you. And that's what I love about Benin. It's not about somebody taking from you. It's like I felt like people were giving to me, and I wanted to have something to give back to them. That's how it felt for me.
Wow, that is really amazing how you've been really working through this, but still the part of your, I mean, of the entire thing, your process to return to Africa is also administrative. How far have you been doing with the process to gaining Benin's nationality?
Everything has been going very smoothly for me. And so right now I'm waiting for the fingerprints from the United States to be cleared, because that's one part. You have to have a criminal background check. So that takes about 3 weeks for them to get that together.
All
So
right.
that I'm waiting for, because I had the ancestry.com showing my connection with West Africa, which is a
Okay.
requirement. I
All right.
also provided a birth certificate from my father, death certificate from my father, a death certificate from my mother, and then my birth certificate. So that, you know, connects me to the African diaspora.
Okay.
Um, so that's a huge part of it. And just filling out the application, I think it's like $100. It's not much. And because there's so many people that have already done it, the process is getting more and more streamlined now. It's getting easier. It was probably more difficult, before, but I also had the help of Bonnie, who's already gone through the entire process.
Okay.
So I really recommend that someone do assistance, some consultation with someone that's already done it, uh,
Uh-huh.
because that's what made it easy for me. Um,
Of course.
Already done it. It's making it very easy for me.
Yeah, now another good news I would like to share with you. I don't know if you heard it. I also posted on social media yesterday. There's this new agency that the government has just created to help Afro-descendants through the process.
Wow, that's crazy, and that I'm going to be able to take advantage of that, because I'm
Of
not
course.
through, because there is an interview that I'm going to have to do when I return.
Okay.
So and I am looking so forward to the ceremony, just all of it. I'm just so excited because I was there at her ceremony, Bonnie's.
Okay.
It's just like reversing for my bloodline what, coming back the other way. The transatlantic slave trade went one way, and we're
Mm.
coming the other way. We're completing the circle, and it's an exciting time. It really is. I'm so happy to be living in this time.
Of
And
course, of course.
I just, like I was saying to you, I've been talking to you about I Show Speed. His whole tour just happened. He's a YouTuber, and his tour just happened all the way through Africa.
Yeah,
Um,
just a moment.
The door of no return.
Yes, the door of no return. And today we had the spiritual return. That's you coming back here.
Wow. I came back through the door.
I came back through the door.
I absolutely love it. I recommend everybody look up I Show Speed and just take in his experience as someone of the African diaspora, coming back not knowing anything about Africa, because his parents, uh, even though they had African roots, like my parents, are so
Oh,
on just living, just surviving in the United States. He was able to come back and just embrace the culture and just share with us his experience. I believe
what does that tool, that tool actually mean to you? I mean, I show kids too in Africa.
There were points where I was in tears. I was literally like some of the people that watched it. There's several videos of Black Americans, of us watching, uh, Americans of African descent, us watching his experience. And it's like we're there with him. He speaks like us. He is,
Hmm.
and he's going back and experiencing Africa. So we feel like we're there experiencing it with him. And it's just, it's amazing. I
Do
believe.
do you think that's going to open the eyes of many African Americans?
Yes, I think we're going to be making greater connections with Africa. We're going to come back and see for ourselves. Now,
Oh.
know that it's just not little babies with big bellies with flies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I show speed. His tool actually show that Africa is not that big forest that was. It's not a desert. It's actually an amazing place, and is a civilized society. Is a modernized society because a lot of things are happening in Africa, and I show speed so actually highlighted all these aspects. I think this is going really to change. I mean, African Americans' view and American society in general view about Africa. They're going to see something different, right?
Yes, they're going to see something different, and they're going to know that there are so many aspects of Africa that whatever your goal is, you can achieve it here. If you
Mm-hmm.
just, live like you're living in the West, you've got that opportunity to live with the luxuries of the West in Africa. But if you want to, simplify your life and, just enjoy the people in the community, um, and, just sit back and not want to spend a lot of money, you can do that as well. I mean, you can do whatever you want here. It's all here.
Did you get the opportunity to hear? I mean, just around you, some of the people watching the actual speed tour with you, some comments of younger generation, not people of your age, but younger generations. I don't know if you got the opportunity to see some watch it. Did you hear any comments about actual speed tour?
Well, I have grandkids that are around his age, but I just really need to talk to them about it. Um, what their personal viewpoint was, but I watched several videos of people that were his age, and they were absolutely shocked. Um, all that was in Africa, and they actually have an interest to go now. There was no interest for them to go before this.
Oh,
This
oh,
this is amazing. This has shifted everything
yeah.
for young generation that is his age.
Well, if I chose Speed to visit was a spark, what do you believe the next step should be for Afro descendants who feel same excitement and curiosity about Africa? What should the next step be for Afro descendants?
Well, before I even saw I Show Speed, I started talking to people about what kind of way I could contribute.
Hmm.
When I come back, I'm hoping to speak to some young people in school about my experience as a psychiatrist,
Okay.
history about psychiatry, um, and there's also, people just don't want to talk about mental health
Hmm.
in our communities, and I would love to be a part of that conversation. I would love to go and speak to young people to let them know that there is a profession that they can get into, that is going to help people tremendously, and also to take away that stigma just in case if they're like a teenager, like I was, suffering from depression and anxiety, that there is help and there should be no shame about it.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's amazing. And using your professional background really to support this movement is a great thing. And I really pray God helps you through this. That even before you get your own certificate, that you already start convincing people, especially the younger generation, to join, which is an amazing thing. Well, just a short clip I would like you to see, and then you're going to tell me what you think.
Yes.
Are you dreaming of such moment? That was Bunny.
Yes, yes. I know that it can happen for me too. Like I said, my father, he was a physician. He became a physician. I became a physician. Bonnie became a citizen of Benin. I know it can happen for me too.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Well, we are moving towards, the end of this show. But one important thing that we want to find out is giving back. Some use the word giving back, others will use giving forward. What are you looking forward to giving back to Africa, or what do you think African Americans, Afro-Descendants coming to Africa, and people of your background can give back to Africa once they establish?
I feel like in Benin there is a language barrier for me, but coming there this time, I was there for 6 weeks, and there's a large English speaking community there, and to be able to support people that are coming from the West in their journey in mental health, I look forward to that. But I look forward to encouraging the young people. So many young people in Benin are learning English. So I want to encourage them in their journey to become a medical doctor and a psychiatrist. I look forward to that. My visit, I spoke at my son's school probably about a couple of times while I was there. And just the connection that I had with the kids there, I look forward to making that connection with some of the other schools that are in the area as well. So I think there's going to be a lot that we can offer, just sharing our experience and then encouraging people to go beyond just high school and to get those professional degrees, and then to be able to address some of the things that have been taboo in the Black and
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess our all
okay,
right.
somebody
Okay.
call off. Yes.
All right. So
Yeah. So
I know you are still in the process, but well, a technical issue with our guest. Hopefully, she'll be back, and we're gonna be able to continue. Um, let's see. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for staying tuned, watching this amazing show. Just to recap our conversation with Dr. Carla Hammond, we talk about a whole lot of things. We talk a lot about she growing up in America, and the, the environment and the circumstances, I mean, the conditions in which she grew up in America. It was then a very segregated moment. She did mention that, and then her contribution to her community. She had a great sense of service, serving her community, and also serving her colleagues as well. Well, welcome back. Happy to see you. Thank you. Yeah, and that happened a lot to me last week when I was having Bunny. That's okay. It's part of it.
Yes, I'm back.
Right. Happy to have you back. Well, I was asking. I was asking. I know you haven't gone far. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You haven't completed the process yet. But if there's from the little that you've gone through, if you have any advice to give to aspiring Afro descendants, aspiring to get us, what advice would you give them?
Just to go on the website, the origins. I think it's I can't remember something.
My Afro origins. My Afro
Yeah,
origins.
yeah. Go to my Afro Origins, and they walk you through it. It's very easy. The application process is very easy. And what I like about Benin is they are really allowing everyone. They make it accessible. It's like $100, $150. It's a very low amount. And they
Oh,
actually are giving you your citizenship. They're giving you a certificate that you were actually born there. So you're actually reversing that whole thing in the spirit, spiritually, reversing what was done to your bloodline, taken against your will through that door of no return. We get to return. And just to complete that loop for everyone that suffered what they suffered is just such a good feeling for me. And I just remember when Bonnie got her certificate, it was as if everything shifted in her as well. She saw
yes. Yeah.
herself so differently. It was amazing. It was like seeing a different person. This process really does complete us. And anybody can just take the time out and do it. You don't even have to move to Benin, which is a beautiful thing. You don't have
Uh-huh.
to relocate.
Mm.
You have to spend some time there to qualify to get the citizenship fully. But it's a very minimal investment of time. It really is.
Yeah. Returning home, like coming back to Africa is like coming back home. But well, what does the word home in this context mean to you, Dr. Hammond?
The home means the land of my ancestors, where I would have been if someone just didn't decide different for me. And I think that's what this whole trip for I Show Speed was, is that he could see himself in other people. It's so funny because I walked down the street and I would see men that looked exactly like my grandfather. And I was like, "Oh my God, these people, they look like people in my family." I'll never forget. I was at Bonnie's party that she had, and so I was asking one of the ladies I was with, "Well, what tribe do I look like I'm from?" And there was a young girl that looked exactly like me as a young person. This girl looked exactly like me. Her skin tone was different, but her features, everything looked like me. So it's so nice to be able to see yourself in another culture and just see the beauty of it. That's what I recommend everybody at least make it there once in your life, even if you decide you don't want to be a citizen. But it is literally home to me. I feel so different. And what I love about Benin is there's just music constantly. And I know the people just thought I was crazy because I would just walk down the streets and I'd be dancing. It's amazing. Walking down the street and just dancing. Also, I said I would never get on a motorcycle. That's our main transportation there. And I enjoyed getting on there, riding with the motorcycle men. You see the beautiful ocean. There is an ocean there that is amazing. The water is warm and clean. The seafood that comes from the ocean is so delicious. Everything about it. Tasting, feeling, dancing. I mean, your body just starts going, hey, it is just, it's a total experience, and it brought so much joy to me. That's what I felt, was real joy, not happiness. Joy really comes from down inside, and that's what I felt. I want everybody to feel that.
I see, but Dr. Hammond, you can't really wait to be back to Africa, and that's a really good feeling about it. And
Yeah.
we really, I mean, when I say we, people in Benin, I mean they're happy to have you, and they're ready to really get you, help you, walk you through everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is going to. You said, you mentioned your son being here.
Yes.
Are you getting your son in that process, or it's now for now it's just yourself?
Well, my son, once I get my citizenship, he'll be able to get his.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
and that's really important because Benin has been such a good place for him. He was in his ninth grade year in the States and was totally disinterested in school. He was on the computer 24 hours a day, talking to all these strange people. He was on his cell phone 24 hours a day. He was not focused on school. And that's why I decided to have him come to Benin. And there's the distractions are not there like they are here in the States. He's been able to buckle down and really start learning, catching up on things he got behind on because of the pandemic. So academically, he is going to be ready to go to college. And I believe it's because there are less distractions here. And there's also a saying about Africa, it bends you. You do not bend Africa. Africa
Uh-huh.
bends you, and it shapes you into a way that will allow you to go out into the world and really contribute. I feel like he's going to really contribute to whatever he decides to do once he graduates high school.
Well, Dr. Hammond, we are at the end of the show. What would be your conclusion? What would be, I mean, just in a sentence, how would you really describe your journey? I know it's not yet the end of the journey, but
I just describe this journey as something I'm very grateful for because it did not have to happen. And I also feel very spiritual about it as well because I feel as if just God, the universe, something that's greater than me brought me to this place. So, in one sentence, I would say I am very, very grateful to be born in this time of technology and advancement so that this could all happen. I mean, the DNA test, that was not available uh, 30 years ago. Um, so accessible to everybody. Travel, the internet, all of these things have connected us, like I Show Speed. It's a no-brainer. Everybody needs to look into it. It's amazing. Try it for yourself.
Dr. Hammond, we are also very grateful to you. And thank you so much for sharing your story, your faith, and your vision with us. And you viewers, thank you so much for watching Back to the Roots. Just join us next week for another story of return, identity, and purpose. Until then, stay safe. And goodbye, Dr. Hammond.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Thank you.